Hi everyone, my name is JT Basson, here from Windhoek, Namibia, and this is my part B, a recorded discussion on bridging theory and practice, communicating inclusive education for South African schools. Okay, so this presentation will explore inclusive education by looking at two contested definitions of inclusive education, of course, and how they have the potential to transform the educational system of South Africa. The goal of this presentation is absolutely to educate, persuade, and inspire the key stakeholders, namely the teachers, parents, and leaders, to embrace life alongside difference and to effectively spot and remove barriers. As we are the stakeholders, the teachers, parents, and leaders, we should be the variables and we should embrace change, not the student. Going on to policy and practice. South Africa has one of the most progressive policies in the world in the form of Education White Paper 6. It was designed specifically to heal the legacy of segregation that was inherited by the apartheid regime. But unfortunately, the reality is that more than 20 years later, after the implementation of Education White Paper 6, there is still a large number of learners with disabilities that are still out of school. And for those that are well in schools, they face daily barriers in the face of their learning. So we can ask, why is this happening? And according to Donahue and Bornman, they state the biggest problem is the gaping hole between policy and practice. The thing is, everyone agrees on the idea of inclusion, but most of us are stuck when it comes to implementing it. So a solution is needed to close this gap. To fix the gap, a clear plan is needed. And referring to my screen over there, the work of Mal Ainscow gives us that plan, reminds us that inclusion is a never-ending process and a constant effort to improve, the environments that our children have to be educated in. He argues that we must aim for three goals for every learner. First of all, presence. Are all the learners present and in the building? That is also the easiest part of the three-part goal. Secondly, is participation, and this is concerning whether they are meaningfully engaged in the same activities as their peers and in the same class. And thirdly, achievement, which is the most important to understand. Achievement should not be compared to others. It should be about the learner and whether they are learning to their full potential. So, when looking at this three-part lens, presence, participation, and achievement, we can see why inclusive education is such a contested definition and how different interpretations can have different views of understanding. For the first definition, we will look at the narrow view, and this is the physical placement, more of an integration of learners with special educational needs or that face learning barriers into a normal school system. The problem is that this view does not see any change happening from the side of the school or the institution or the teachers. The learner with his or her barriers must adapt to the school, which is a daunting task for a child. This will result in the use of remedial teaching, where the learner is usually pulled out of class, separating them from their peers. as seen in the UNESCO document from 2005. If we use Ainskou's lens, this approach achieves presence, but that's where it stops. It fails on the side of participation and achievement. Looking at the second definition, the broader view, it is the intense, continuous process of reforming schools, focusing, and it should be emphasized, focusing on removing barriers for all learners. This is a total mindset shift from the side of the school, the teachers, and any other stakeholders. It sees barriers as existing in the system, not in the learner. Here, the school has to adapt to its learners. This approach aligns very well with South Africa's national policy of creating full service schools, which are schools that are resourced and equipped with skills in the form of staff and technology and transport to support all learners in that school. This means expertise is inside of each classroom, where the narrow view keeps the expertise out of the classroom. Teachers use curriculum differentiation to make the same lesson accessible to all learners in the school, no matter the barriers they face. That is why this definition is the definition that actively works to achieve all three of ANSCO's goals: presence, participation, and achievement for everyone. So, moving over to teachers and the plan for them. Good teachers know they are the variable in classes and should strive to improve on all fronts regarding the education of learners. Good teachers focus firstly on the learners with a broad view to keep everything in perspective. Teachers have to embrace curriculum differentiation. As the Department of Basic Education's own guidelines state, this is the core strategy to flexibly change the content and methods and assessments to make it easy and accessible for each child. Also, there has to be a support structure for the teacher. They cannot implement this idea alone. The institution level support teams have to be formed and used alongside teachers to brainstorm the curriculum differentiations. Collaboration is crucial in making progress on this front. The plan for parents and immediate family members are the most powerful powerful advocates. Excuse me. Policy describes them as critical success factors in a child's education. They have the right to be in the conversation and to request regular consultation with institution level support teams. More importantly, they have to use their power and advantage of school governing bodies to create subcommittees that can implement change in schools to address barriers to learning. This is officially this is a tool that can officially be used to make a change in schools. The plan for leadership, leaders and policymakers are the barrier removers. They have to be visible and vocal advocates for inclusion in their schools. They have to stop funding one-day workshops that cannot be used practically in the class. They have to fund structures that create opportunities for teachers to get in-class coaching so that they may know how to properly implement strategies to educate diverse students or learners. So, in conclusion, we return to the gap between policy and practice because we know it's a big hole. But bridging it requires the mindset shift. we've discussed in this presentation. We must remember, as a nation, a country, a continent, and teachers, we have to move away from the narrow integration definition and fully embrace the broad, searching for ways to differ and change systems, reform systems, so that they may fit the child. The child should not be expected to change. This is the never ending process of reform. This is a collaborative effort. As a teacher, parent, or principal, the role of these stakeholders is vital. Everyone has to push for more than just presence in a classroom. We must build a system that delivers true participation and achievement for every learner. All stakeholders should be visible and vocal advocates that every child deserves. Thank you very much.